Hi everyone, it's TheTidesChanging here, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. This is the second build that I've made for Newcrest, and it's another starter home. You can see the first one that I made to the right of this one. I actually didn't mean for the second build for Newcrest to be a starter home. It was supposed to be a spa, but I started on one and got to the point where the whole exterior was done and the first floor of it was furnished, and I somehow saved over it with a save file for my last build. I don't even know how I did it. I think what might have happened was I was double checking to make sure that, as I was working on the Let's build, I just clicked save as to check really quickly that I was actually saving, and I must have accidentally clicked on the save file for the spa and then accidentally saved over it. I think that might have been what happened. I'd rather it be something I did than some kind of glitch of the game, but I was pretty frustrated with myself because I really liked what I had, and I also spent a good chunk of a weekend working on it. And those of you who follow me on Twitter may have seen the pictures I posted of it. I'll put one of those pictures in the video here so you all can see what I had. On the bright side, I can rebuild the spa and I can make it better, because when I was making the spa, I did not think at all about how everything in the interior would be laid out. So that made it so when I went to go furnish, I spent about an hour or two just trying to figure out how to lay everything out. And I just ended up with very cramped and awkward spaces. For example, I had locker rooms that were very small and also different sizes. So that's something that I'll improve on when I go to rebuild it, but I didn't want to just jump right back into rebuilding the spa because I was pretty frustrated right after I realized I saved over it. So I thought it'd be good just to take a break, work on something else, and then go back to it. So I thought a nice quick starter home would be something good to work on in the meantime. The next speed build that I have up won't be the spa though. It's actually going to be the hospital collab that I mentioned months ago. I finished it a little over a month ago, but when I went to go ask the person who I was working on the collab with when they wanted to get the videos up, I found out that they're going to be going away for a month. And I didn't want to say in my video, oh, go check out this person's video, only for it to not be up for over a month. So I figured it'd be best just to wait until they got back. I'm really excited to share that build with you all, and it should be up sometime next week. But that's enough talking about other builds, so I'm going to get back to this one here. At this point, the house is built and the wall coverings are picked out, and I'm just working on the foundation, so I think I went with the dark brick. But for this house, I wanted to look sort of similar to the one next door, but different, because it would be boring if all the houses looked pretty much the same and had the same wall coverings and everything. So there are some differences between this house and the last starter that I made, but there are also some things that are similar to sort of tie them in together, like they have the same black shutters and they also have the same kind of roof. So they do go together. I actually like the exterior of this house more than the last one, and I really like the wall covering combination that I chose for it. But right now I'm just working on putting down some terrain paint to add some extra detail to the yard. And this is a 2-bedroom starter home. I just wanted to have some variety and have different options for your Sims when they're starting out. Originally, I was going to make it a 2-bedroom starter home that you could afford with just a single Sim, but once I spent all that budget, I felt like there were some things that were missing and I just really wanted to add in, so I spent another 500 or so simoleons just adding that kind of stuff in. Plus it does have 2 double beds in it, so I figured it was fine anyway to make it so that you'd have to have 2 Sims to afford it right off the bat. If you did want to move in a single Sim, you could easily just place this house down and delete everything out of one of the bedrooms and then move the Sim into it and have some leftover money to be able to afford skill building items or whatever you want to have to personalize the house for your Sims. And when you do move 2 Sims into it, there will be about 1,500 simoleons left over, so that is plenty of money to add whatever else you want to add to this home to customize it for your Sims. Right now I'm working on the interior and picking out some wallpaper. So with this house, I was trying to avoid using the normal plain paint with crown and base molding wallpaper that I always use, so I actually went for more of a retro look and put in this sort of tacky wallpaper. I mean, it looks nice in here, but this definitely isn't something I would want in my own house. If I ever moved into a place that had this kind of wallpaper, it would be torn down, although I do like the chair molding. But right now moving on to putting the flooring and wallpaper in the kitchen. So the kitchen, I went for sort of a retro 50s diner theme. So I had the checker flooring, which actually was very expensive, but I just really liked how it looked with the wallpaper that I had. Also changing the columns to be a brown color. Just thought that went with the chair molding. For the wall covering in the kitchen, I went with the red paint, which is what made me think of a 50s diner. And the more retro look of the interior of this house may not be to everyone's liking, and if you don't like it, it's easy enough to change it. But my thoughts as far as why I did it in this style was that this house and the one next to it, which has a more contemporary interior, were built around the same time, but someone bought out the one next door and updated and modernized it a bit, whereas whoever had this house just kind of kept it as it was and never really updated as much throughout the years. So if you download this house, you can just leave it as is, or you could have some fun modernizing it. Whatever you want to do. I actually really like the interior, and it was fun furnishing in a different style than I have been lately. I finished up furnishing the kitchen, so now I'm heading over to the living room. It took me a little bit to figure out what kind of table I wanted to have the TV on, because I had to fit both the couch and the TV in the space and also a dining table, and I was trying to figure out how to work that out. And I feel like the best way to fit all of that in was to have the couch and the TV diagonally in the corner. So I ended up putting it on that beat up looking nightstand, like it was an old piece of furniture, and also had a flower rug in front of it, although I do change that later on the build. But with that, I just felt like the mauve color was the one that went best with the wallpapers. So right now I'm putting the dining table. It's just right in front of the entrance area to the kitchen. At first I was going to use those chairs with the cushions, but they are very expensive, so I do end up just going for the old wood tables in a little bit, but I did really like the nice elegant look that they had. And one good thing about this really busy wallpaper is that you do not need any wall coverings with it, which did save money, because I did try switching it to just a plain color to see how it looked, and it just looked very bare, especially since there's no wall coverings anywhere. I was trying to figure out what to put in the hallway area, so I went with the one that had the same kind of wall covering, or like the same kind of floral pattern, but with the paneling on the bottom, so it was a little different. And for the bedrooms, I went with some wallpaper that was a combination of plain paint with the paneling on the bottom. I believe right now I'm moving on to furnishing the bedrooms. They're both pretty plain. This is a starter home, so I didn't have any money to do anything fancy with them. The one in the front of the house has a very plain neutral brown color scheme, and then the one in the back of the house has a bit more color with a green and blue color scheme. For the end tables of both bedrooms, I just used the beat up nightstand one, and originally I had the beds near the door, so I didn't need a second nightstand, but a little bit I realized that I should probably put them against the wall under a window. It would probably look a little bit nicer. So I do move that, I do make that move shortly, but right now I was trying to figure out some kind of wall painting to put into the bedroom. So I put one of the show hidden objects paintings in each of the bedroom. I said this in other speed builds, but they are nice to use when you're, working with not a whole lot of money, because they are pretty cheap and they do look really nice. I also put in the beat up looking dresser in each of the bedrooms. And I think once I get the mirror in, that's about all the furnishing that I put in at first. Right now, I think I'm moving on to the bathroom right now, so I just put in a gray tile and then used this plain paint and tile combination wall covering. I really like how that looks. Of course, I wasn't able to put a whole lot into the bathroom. There's just the basic items you need. You got a sink, a toilet, shower. I did put in the toilet paper roll decoration as well as a trash can. And I did want to put more in over on this side, but I just realized I didn't have the money for that, so there's just a shower over there. After that, I think I went back and, I did go back and change a few things in the bedroom, so I just moved the paintings that were in there around. I think here's where I also get rid of those fancier chairs and put in the plain ones. Also added a bookshelf because there are no skill building items, so I figured I should at least have a bookshelf. And like I said before, there is some extra money left over when you buy this house, so you can use that to buy whatever skill building items you need for your Sims. Right now I'm working on the landscaping, and I use the same plants that I used in the last build because they are the cheapest, and as you can see I did not have a whole lot of money. Although before finishing the build, I did give myself a little bit more money to work with, and I added a couple things into the interior that I felt were missing. For example, I felt like it was really odd that I only had one end table beside the bed, so I just went in and put another end table and lamp beside each of the beds. I also think I put an overhead cabinet above the stove or something like that. Here's where I'm adding in that stuff. I'm just about done with building the house though, so before leaving off I want to remind you that if you do want to add this house into your game, there will be a link in the description, and if you want to find it in-game you can search for Elm Cottage or use the TidesChanging hashtag, which I use for all my builds. But I'm going to leave off here, so hope you'll enjoy the rest of this video.